Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, well, let's jump into it today, you guys. I know that some of you might be a little bit in recovery mode from yesterday. So this one is pretty clear and succinct, so you can follow along in your pajamas. And of course, actually, there's something fun in relation to this webinar that David and I talked about as far as implementing and future webinars where we actually will have small groups with you guys. We'll talk about that more a little bit later. So are you ready? I'm ready.
I am ready. All right, you're good to go, friend.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, guys, welcome to today's topic. We are going to cover the foundational tool set. And today we're going to cover leads, specifically the campaign for lead generation, and then how that converts, you'll see through the series of tools that we'll share, and then also how that blends in with the long-term nurture for leads that might require a little bit more longer time during the process. So my name is Heather Connor, and I am a real estate agent right here in Crested, Butte, Colorado. And let's jump into today's webinar. This is for you if you want to curate more leads, but you don't know what to say. This is usually one of the biggest comments that we receive is we just don't know what to say. So we're going to cover that for you today. This is also for you if you want a follow-up campaign. It feels genuine and helpful instead of salesy. I've been mentoring this agent, and one of the biggest things that we've come into as far as a roadblock is that the pre-scripted text and verbal campaigns that he has reviewed, he just feels like they're not genuine, and he feels like they're too pushy and they're too salesy. And I understand, because some of those canned campaigns that you receive with your CRM, maybe even from your coach, like some of those PDFs that you download, the free PDFs, sometimes those just don't feel authentic, and it's tough to move forward when you're presenting yourself in a way that you don't believe in. So we're going to talk about how I handled this problem for myself, and then maybe this will resonate with you guys as well. So we're going to cover two campaign structures. A lot of folks I know only have one new lead campaign structure, and we actually broke it down into what we call a cold immediate sales follow-up campaign, and then a warm immediate sales follow-up campaign. Here's how I apply each one. The cold I utilize for essentially people that don't know me. They may have come in from a Facebook lead, a Google ad lead, just listed leads, anything where they are clicking on that campaign to receive the information that they don't know much about you, or they don't know anything about you. So we call that cold. Then there's also the warm campaign structure. And this is where they know a little bit more about you. They might know you, they might like you, they might trust you, they might have one or all three of those aspects. So we consider that warm. And those usually come from YouTube leads, your sphere of influence, and referrals. So let's start with the cold immediate sales follow-up campaign. Here is the core structure. Mine has 8 emails. It covers 4 days. We're also going to share the CRM tag that I use to trigger, and then the follow-up, which is email sprinkler. Let's talk about the timing sequence. So first, before we jump into the exact sequence, the tag that I utilize in my CRM might look different than yours. For me, the 20-dot sales pipeline, that's just how I organize the overall intent of the campaign, the tag, what I want added to that client's profile. But what's really important, the 3 words that I believe should be in your tag that is the most important is new lead. So that's pretty straightforward. And then cold. So this is a new lead for cold new leads. Pretty straightforward. Again, these cover Facebook leads, Google ad leads, and just listed leads. Here's the structure. Day 1, remember, cold, they don't know you. So this one has a little bit more follow-up in the beginning, as you'll see. Day 1, email number 1 is immediate. The minute they click on the offering, they receive an immediate email. Email number 2, That is 1 hour after email number 1. Email number 3, this is actually email number 3, it says 2. Email number 3, that's 3 hours after email number 2. So you'll see that on day 1, we are really consistent and pretty aggressive about the follow-up timing. Day 2, if they still haven't responded, the system then sends out email number 4 at 7 a.m., email number 5 at 2 p.m., and then email number 6 at 6 p.m. Day 3, email number 7 goes out at 10 a.m. And then day 4, email number 8 goes out at 2 p.m. Now I'm going to cover 3 of the 8 emails. And for those of you that would like all 8, we'll share with you later in this webinar how you can gain access to those. But here's just to give you an idea of what these look like. So email number 1 sends to them immediately after they request the just listed information or whatever offering that you put out there on Facebook, Google. So you'll see here, there's a little bit of coding. A lot of you are familiar with this in your email senders. So you put their first name, and then it just is really simple. It says, hope your day is going amazing. I noticed you were just on the site. Are you currently visiting Crested Butte, or are you preemptively starting your search long distance? For those of you that are in a resort market, this is the perfect opener. For those of you that are in a primary market, we can tweak this slightly if you want to remove the long distance aspect. Email number 2, again, first name. Again, not too long, but a little bit more detailed just to try to engage them. And we're giving them an offering, you'll see here. It says, hey, first name. So, hey, David, just wrapping up the day and wanted to be sure to check back in with you. Just a friendly heads up that we have a ton of fun resources available to help with your search. Neighborhood driving tours, videos on local hikes, restaurants, and anything and everything real estate related. Specifically, I wanted to share this Crested Butte Local Buyer's Guide. This is a great resource to prepare you for this current market we are in, as well as any differences you may realize when purchasing in a ski resort community like Crested Butte. It's a fairly quick read and well worth it, so you feel more prepared during the process. So if you'll notice something here, what's different than the majority of canned responses and campaigns that I've seen, they're a little bit more aggressive, like, hey, are you ready now? Do you want to talk? We actually switched the intent to offerings and being of value. So we're not trying to marry them right away. We're actually giving them reasons to want to go on a date with us. And so these are just offering, and offering. For those of you that don't have a buyer's guide, there's a lot of ways that you can gain one. You might already have one from a lead magnet that you've created, or again, we can share with you how you can get access to one that you can turn around and utilize pretty quickly. You'll see here, I personally believe that local buyer's guides are good regardless of market. For my friends, again, that are in a resort market, this is a great resource because things can happen differently than a primary market. Inventory and the process can be different for folks that are buying a second home or an investment, as we all know. I also think this is great for a primary market just because there are a lot of folks out there that either they're a first-time home buyer or the average time frame is 7 years when somebody will sell a home. So it's been a while since they've been through the process. So it's good to have a refresh. Email number 3. Hey, David, just checking back in from earlier. I wanted to let you know that we set you up with a few helpful tools. You now have access to new listings for sale in Crested Butte automatically delivered to your inbox. Once you drill down to a specific neighborhood or type of property, let us know. From there, we can customize your search results so you can only see the homes you want to see. P.S. If you're looking for something specific, such as a certain price point, neighborhood, or other factors such as commercial or land, let me know ASAP so we can update your search for you. Anything else that I can help with, feel free to reach out. All right, so that's email 3 of 8. And as we know, that's the first day. David, I don't know, I didn't tell you that I was going to actually involve you here, but anything different that you're feeling here just from a typical campaign structure?
No, I really like this. One thing that I think you do really, really well that I love is that you're not attacking them. You're actually just like value, 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 value. And then if this isn't quite what you want, let me know and I'll get that to you, instead of, do you want to hire me today? Are you ready to buy a house today? So I really like that.
And what's funny is, for those of you out there that is what your structure look like, don't beat yourself up over it. A lot of times we just don't know better. We weren't given permission to do something different. And when I look at this, I think, how do I want a professional to help me if this were me? And we don't want to be attacked, but often we just go with the first option that is aggressive, but maybe we don't love how they show up. This allows you to, quote unquote, be aggressive in your cadence, but show up in a way of value. And so a lot of people have 4, 5, 6 agents, you think, David, that they might be in their database, like even more?
Yeah, I think it's more than that. But yeah, even if you think of 6 or 8.
Right. And so the great thing is, yes, you do want to have a high cadence of touch, especially for a cold lead. However, what's going to set you apart just in the first day is, like David said, you're not hammering them. You're actually just offering value. And that's going to show up immediately to these folks. All right. So I just showed you 3 emails out of 8 to give you an idea. The remaining continue to take the lead through a certain, and I shouldn't say lead, that sounds a little bit anonymous, but this potential new client, it takes them through a very specific psychological journey where it's very based on Gary Vee, where you're offering. All right. So let's talk about the next campaign. And I know I'm moving fast here. So the next campaign is the warm immediate sales follow-up campaign. This one is 5 emails. So you'll see it's a little bit shorter. It also covers 4 days, cover the CRM tag, and then we'll talk about email sprinkler for both the cold and the warm. Timing sequence, let's talk about this. First, the tag. Again, what we have here is new lead, pretty straightforward. The only difference is it says warm. Like I mentioned, these are great for YouTube leads, sphere of influence, and referrals. Here's what the structure looks like. So a warm lead is going to ideally be approached different than someone that doesn't know you. The very high cadence of day 1 and day 2 of a cold lead isn't necessary for a warm lead. They most likely have already decided that they're probably either going to work with you, or they've narrowed down the list that you're one of the top options. So you don't need to have that really high cadence of touch in the first 2 days. You just want to offer value, but you want to be consistent. So how we show this is really straightforward. Day 1, email number 1. As soon as they reach out to you or you're given the contact referral, that email goes out immediately. Day 2, email number 2 goes out at 7 a.m. Day 3, email number 3 goes out at 10 a.m. Day 4, email number 4 goes out at 2 p.m. Day 5, email number 5 goes out at 10 a.m. All right, so for this one, I'm also going to show you the first 3 emails of this 5 email sequence to give you an idea of what this looks like and the journey that we're taking them through. So again, David, thanks for taking the time to reach out, and I'm looking forward to speaking further with you on your goals and next steps. In the interim, I'm going to send you a series of emails so you know what to expect during our process of working together. Really straightforward. Second email. David, we have other great tools for you and send out a lot of good information so you keep up to date on the San Diego area. Things to expect to see in your inbox. Ignore the typo that I'm blatantly pointing out. And then here, this leads into email sprinkler. I outline what they're going to receive from me. So I share with them, deal of the week. This is where we highlight a property worth viewing for a home investment. Q&A, we take common real estate questions and offer clarity on that term or action. Market pulse, we share relevant information that you care about as a buyer or seller in the San Diego market. Inspirational, we offer a little perspective on things that we see in our personal and professional lives. I always welcome feedback and love hearing your thoughts. If the subject brings about any personal thoughts or if you want additional information, you can always respond to an email and we will reply back. Okay, so again, I'm going to put David on the spot here, but inspirational seems a little bit maybe out of place for a work email. A lot of folks say, I understand deal of the week, I understand Q&A, and I understand market pulse, which is a mini market update. Inspirational, some folks really push against that one. David, you recently started incorporating those emails, which are amazing, by the way.
Thanks.
Just because you are new to it and it wasn't something that you immediately adopted, any feedback on how that worked for you and kind of the response you received?
Yeah, so my initial feedback was it was really uncomfortable to start it, but I knew that I had to get uncomfortable to grow. That's, everything we do in our life, in our business. But what's been really cool about it is I've been able to have some really meaningful connections with people who I probably wouldn't have had that connection otherwise, because they connected with that versus what the current interest rate is. Some people just don't care what the rates are, or they don't care how many houses are available. But last week, I sent out an email just about being grateful and how I start every day using a gratitude journal. And my offering, I didn't intend to put an offering in there, but then I ended the email with an offering of, if you want the gratitude journal I use, just reply back to this message or reply back to this email. And some people that were in my list that I never expected to be the grateful people, not that they're ungrateful, but just this mindset of, of how we have to be as entrepreneurs, responded and they wanted it. And so it was really cool to, send out, I think I sent out 10 gratitude journals with just like a personal note in it. And I would say half of those people were people I wouldn't have normally connected with through my email sprinkler. So I didn't sell them anything. I didn't sell a house off that email, but I got some really great connections. And that's part of this business, or a lot of this business is tough. So being able to have a warm connection is just great.
Absolutely. And what you're doing is you're actually building a relationship here. So again, we're removing ourselves from becoming that salesperson, and we are positioning ourselves as a professional. And what we're saying is, here's how we're going to keep you updated. And then inspirational is, here's a peek behind the scenes of who I am as a person. And while we don't always get the option, when we do, I would bet that most of us would prefer to work with someone that we like. So that just gives them a little bit of a deeper peek into you, other than I sell homes, here's a kitchen, and here is the interest rate for the week. So it just it adds depth to who you are and potential depth to the relationship. Inspirational is the one where I receive the most comment, and people come out of the woodwork and just love to just make a comment of how that reminds them of something in their lives, which I love personally. All right, for those of you that are looking at email number 2 and immediately are having a reaction, what I'm going to share with you is these 4 emails are just based off of what we call email sprinkler, and David's covered this in another webinar. If you are not comfortable with all 4 emails immediately, place what you are comfortable with, and then you can always update this email in the future. Okay, 3rd email. David, quick update that our team has set you up on auto alerts on properties in your general area of interest. We're happy to adjust the type, townhome, single family, commercial, and we can always add or remove locations. Since the market is still surprisingly fast in certain price points and property styles, we have you set to receive these properties listings once per day. However, if you want a lesser frequency, we can change this to once per week. Just let us know by responding to this email with any update request. So a couple things here. What we did was we let them know what we have proactively done on their behalf. While a lot of folks utilize Zillow, Realtor.com, Redfin, they have great searches, and I am completely fine with people utilizing those actually, because they make it very easy to view properties. What we've also done though is we've taken anything that might be what we believe is their interest, and it's coming straight to their inbox, so they don't have to search for it. It's coming to them. So what's happening here is we now land in their inbox yet again with another piece of information that's valuable. And then we also shared with them, hey, I'm still not asking anything of you, but I'm proactively offering you not only another resource, but I'm showing you that I think ahead for you. I'm not on my heels. And then as well, you can still see here, we haven't asked them to marry us. We're just offering. So the remaining of the 2 emails, we can cover that and how you can gain access to those again later. All right, so the campaign structure, what we haven't seen in the remaining emails that I'll share with you a little bit. Again, they're very content-based. What you'll see here is they're not meant to elicit a response to set a time to talk, right? They're not, when's a good time to talk? Is it today or is tomorrow morning better, right? Those type of questions that we're used to seeing. Instead, they're very content-based in that we say, hey, did you know that we talk about real estate and what it looks like in Crested, Colorado? Here's our YouTube page. Hey, do you know that buying in a resort market, or do you know that buying in a big market like Denver, it might be a little bit different than what you're from? Or do you know that the market is slightly different than, and this is unsaid, but 7 years ago when you last bought or sold a home? So again, we're just showing them resources that we've already put together for them. This is just a peek into what the rest of the campaigns look like. They continue to be value and offering based. All right, now I thought that even though David goes more in depth in this in his video, I just wanted to briefly go over what these emails look like that I mentioned in one of the campaign emails. So we talked about the inspirational email and we talked about Market Pulse. Here's what they look like. So for me, the inspirational email, they vary widely in the length and the topic. I've had some that were 3 lines, and gosh, I didn't count the characters, but I want to say maybe it was like less than 15 characters, maybe 20 characters. That was my shortest one. And then my longest are written in this specific format. And it was a full story that had a beginning, a middle, and an end. So you have a lot of freedom in your inspirational email. For me, I just like to, no matter how long it is, break it up so it's visually digestible. And you'll see that in how I create a lot of white space in between the sentences. If it's a short one, not a big deal. If it's longer, I like to create white space so that people can kind of move through it pretty easily. Obviously, it's personal. How I handle those, I won't get into this too much, but just a quick tip. How I handle those is I tend to batch write those when I'm in a moment of inspiration. A lot of times that happens when I'm on a road trip. If I have a day off and I'm just sitting in my yard, having a good cup of coffee and I'm in that moment, I'll just write a couple of these and schedule them out. And so they're pretty simple. Market Pulse. This is also something that is not only really simple, but you could easily hand off to an assistant when you're ready. And these should go out every week. And the structure that I have here is borrowed from a few friends. And I've been reviewing what different friends send out. And this is a conglomeration of all of those. But then I took it and I tried to summarize and make it as short and clear and concise as possible. The point of this for me is I want people to be able to review it in 2 minutes. This is not the monthly market update. This is just a weekly quick tidbit. So we just cover interest rates, what the either average or median price of a home sells for. We cover what that looks like financially from a loan perspective. And then we cover market stats for that week. So we cover like new homes that were listed for sale in the last week, new homes under contract, medium sold homes prices. All right, so I moved through all of that pretty quickly because really the focus today was on the warm and the cold immediate sales follow-up campaign. But for those of you that want to learn more about how to structure your CRM tags so that they are clean and that they work well, I highly recommend that you watch David's video on the CRM edition. He goes in depth. And it's so well worth that hour for you to have a clean foundation for how your different campaigns trigger for your clients. It makes it really easy for you to bring in a team member and for them to help you in the future. As well, we've talked about email sprinklers throughout this, and I moved through that really quickly. I would suggest that you watch David's email and email content. And for those of you that want to understand those more clearly and have more examples, like what is deal of the week? What does that mean? And the other examples that we talked about, watch email content. He goes in depth over it. All right. So today it was quick, you guys. I wanted to run through this. So if you have additional questions, you know how to reach us. You can always text us here at our numbers below. And just note that my number actually has been updated. So you can text me right there. You can also text David. If it's really, really busy spring season, feel free to reach out to David first. Just kidding. It's actually summer season. And then also, Dave and I have been having conversations, and we would love to get your guys' thought. We are going to beta test a webinar where, for example, today we went over cold and warm lead follow-up systems, and we are going to beta test having a small webinar group where it's a different structure, where we are all together, we can all speak freely, and we'll take you step by step through how to get this campaign into your CRM so that you can use it even that day. I know for me, where I always got stuck was the implementation. Like, I would say, I love this, but then I would reach out to my CRM support, a coach, a tech person, a smart friend, but I would get stuck and I would never complete it. And obviously these resources aren't helpful if you don't complete them. And so if you guys would like to be on the first beta webinar that we are trying, we're going to, one of the topics will be getting these warm and cold campaigns into your CRM, and we will share the resources and the full emails. Email us. You can contact us again through email or text. And David, I'm finished. This was a fast one. Any closing thoughts?
I just wanted to recap really quickly on the inspirational email, even though I want to recap my recap. So I was reading the example you had of the avocado tree. And that one was so good, but I think one that I always go back to that you wrote is the skiing lesson, where all the work is happening below the belt. And often I will revisit that thought when things are difficult or I'm struggling to get stuff done, and how it appears versus what's actually happening, because those are two different things. And I think that as entrepreneurs, we definitely struggle on what we want the public to see of us, what we want our clients to see of us, and what's actually happening. And I think a lot of us feel like we have dumpster fires behind the scenes, and we probably do, but they're probably not as bad as we think they are. And we're so scared that if a potential client sees that we made a mistake or we don't have everything perfect all the time, that they're not going to hire us. But you release that power when you send them an inspirational email and be like, my life was a dumpster fire this week because this, and this happened. And then I did this to change it, or I remained grateful, or whatever it is. Suddenly you're a real person. And that person goes, oh my gosh, my kids were late to school 4 times this week because we just couldn't get it together when it was time to put shoes and backpacks on. And it was a total meltdown in my house. So I think once you can humanize yourself more and more through these connections, you're going to make more money. And of course, we're here because we want to make more money, but ultimately we want to live a better life. And so by living a better life, you'll make more money, you'll have better connections and better relationships.
Yeah. And what we're talking about here is that when you open yourself up to the discomfort, and some of you won't be uncomfortable, you're like Dave and I are different on this. For me, that's the email that I wanted to write every day, and I didn't want to write the other ones. For David, he leaned into the other ones immediately that were more statistical, market driven, and he didn't want to write the inspirational. Him and I are opposites on that. But they both matter when you're truly a professional that is guiding people through one of the largest decisions in their life. It really humanizes you, and it gives you dimension as a human being, and it gives them trust in who you are. And so for those of you that are genuinely thinking, how do I take the next step in my business? It just might surprise you that this really is yet that next step of professionalism. All right, guys, we are going to let you off the hook easy today. We know it was a holiday yesterday. So rest up, reach out, ask to join the beta group, and we'll get these campaigns set up for you. All
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
right, bye.